Hey everybody, it's Mr. S again. Another video involving the solutions unit. This one's going to be a short one, just a real quick concept here, talking about electrolytes versus non-electrolytes. This doesn't really fit in with what else we've been talking about a whole lot, but it's one of those things that has to be put in somewhere, and so this makes the most sense. All right, so let's just get into it. What is an electrolyte? And I'm sure you've all heard this term before, probably in reference to some sort of sports drink. And you probably, for the most part, think it's somehow connected to sport performance or energy or something along those lines, something silly and totally nonsensical because it really has nothing to do with that kind of stuff. When a soda company or drink company tells you that its product has electrolytes in it, doesn't really mean anything in terms of nutrition. Really, what it's telling you is very simple. It has a substance in it that, when dissolved in water, it can conduct electricity. Electrolyte: compounds that conduct an electric current in an aqueous solution or in the molten state. We're talking about solutions, so we'll just talk about that. Essentially, it's something that, when it's dissolved in water, that water can now conduct electricity. Most of you probably don't realize that water, pure water, is really not a very good conductor. It doesn't conduct electricity very well at all. Really, the reason why you're supposed to stay away from water during an electrical storm is not because of the water itself, it's because of what's been dissolved in the water. Most water year round, or swimming in, or fishing in, or whatever, is not pure water. There's things dissolved in it, and those things that conduct electricity are known as electrolyte. Very common electrolytes are common salts like NaCl, potassium iodide, some nitrates you'll find. These are polar molecules that, when dissolved in water, basically create conduits to which electricity can pass through that wouldn't be there if they weren't there. So that's what an electrolyte is: something that conducts electricity when dissolved in water. So essentially, when Gatorade is telling you, oh, our product's got electrolytes, basically they're telling you that they're selling you salt water. Yeah, so there you go. There's that. Well, if electrolyte is something that conducts electricity, then obviously non-electrolyte is something that doesn't. There are a couple. You can classify electrolytes as being strong or weak. This is not something we're going to delve into a whole lot in this unit. We're going to look at it a little bit closer, especially when we get to strong acids and strong bases, because it's something that we kind of rely on when we get to that unit, but we'll talk about that later. Just know a strong electrolyte, when it dissolves, um, we're looking at 100% dissociation, meaning all of its ionic compounds turn into ions and don't stay in compounds. That means there's more ions in the water, they can conduct electricity better. Strong electrolytes conduct electricity better. That's pretty much it. Weak electrolytes don't dissociate completely, but they do some dissociation, so they can still conduct electricity, just not as good as strong electrolytes. Again, I'm not going to have you differentiate between a strong and weak electrolyte. Just know the basic definition: strong electrolyte's a better conductor than a weak electrolyte. And then, of course, non-electrolytes, compounds that cannot conduct electricity. There it is: still water, not great conductor. Gases aren't great conductors. Generally speaking, gases don't carry charge very much, or very often. So, molecular compounds, any sort of covalent compound, generally speaking, is not a good conductor. Organic compounds that contain carbon is not a good conductor. So those would be considered non-electrolytes. A lot of these are also not going to be soluble. So, yeah, there you go. And that's going to be it. Ignore this. We'll start with concentration in the next video. All right. Appreciate it. See y'all soon.